Hi everyone, I'm Grandmaster Magesh Panchanathan, and welcome to Kings and Queens Chess Academy's live stream where you have a game analysis with the Grandmaster. All right, so it's good to see you guys. We've had a long day of camp and a lot of chess teaching, but still, we have players who are studying and analyzing. And camp week has been fun because this is the real week where I get to see kids with spending after 6 to 8 hours of chess and still doing more chess. So it's been exciting for me. So let's get started. I guess there is one game from Dinesh last week, if I remember right. He answered something and I couldn't see it. Hey Harish. So I might start with Dinesh's game very quickly, and of course we will go on with our regular question after that, because I do want to make sure that I have I do cover that from what we left off last week. Okay, so how about we start with a nice warm-up puzzle rush. I like to do this once in a while. I think last week I tried and I failed miserably at 30. So let's start with a 3-minute puzzle rush. Maybe you guys can help me quickly, and you will be the lucky charm to get me my highest score. Maybe I don't even remember what my highest score is. All right, what do we have? Check, check, throw one piece in at a time. Okay, let's just do that. And so puzzle rush is all about checks and captures, at least the starting point. Every time you look at a position, you want to look for checks. So we got check, check, and then we pick up the piece. Okay, so we got, check again, check, and we pick up the rook. Just like I was mentioning, it's a lot of checks. Okay, I can't even get to see which way the pawns are going. Okay, it's going up. Okay, so bishop, now it's capture. If it's not check, it's capture, like this one. And you get to queen the pawn. And we got checkmate in one. That is sweet. Again, a check followed by checkmate. When you do puzzle rush, you probably see how quick. Okay, so I should be able to go here and then, oh, he just gave me this. So intermediate move, check again. I cannot believe how many checks I'm particularly getting. Another check followed by queen h5 should be good enough. Okay, what do we have? For the first time we got something. So I could threaten checkmate here, but rook takes g3 is happening. Oh, I have check again, and checkmate again. Yet another check. Okay, I'm sometimes so confused by the way the pawns are moving. Okay, so we get rid of the knight and then we get rid of the rook. So far everything is going pretty good, pretty straightforward. We got captures and checks continuously helping us, so that should not be a problem. Okay, we got check and check. What checks do we have? We got a check here. I don't have any checks after that. Okay, check. Ooh, maybe queen h1 rook g2 was mate. Missed that. Okay, where do I go? Where do I go? King h4 followed by pushing the pawns all the way up. Sounds like the right thing. Okay, so we start with this check and then we checkmate there. Okay, so I want to take on d5, but I'm really losing my rook. How do I deal with this? Oh, queen e4 check, check, and check. Okay, don't have a lot of time. I'm not doing that great here, guys. I'll have to figure out a way to do this faster. What do I do? Maybe bishop g5 and h3 is queen trap. Okay, let's get that. Okay, so check, should be check, and check, check. Oh man, super slow. I didn't even get struck out, but I missed. I got only 29. Okay, so my longest streak was 25, so I got one mistake after 25. But I guess I was doing this a little slow. Need more practice, but not bad. It's a good warm-up before we start analyzing games, because I don't want to make any blunders during that. All right, perfect. We switch over to our actual board and we'll get the game analysis started. Okay, so let's see if Dinesh actually emailed me something. Yes, he did. So I'm going to start with his game first because he was not 100% sure, but I kind of felt that he had something from last week that I had to cover. So I'm going to go with that. And after this game, we will definitely ask, I'll still definitely ask the question. So wait for the question. So we have started with this game and Dinesh is playing black against Eden. Dinesh, can you give us a little bit about where was this game played? And who did you play? I mean, was this like an online tournament league or something like that? So Dinesh was playing black, so I'm going to flip the board to give you guys the perspective from black. And I would definitely like to play 2 games because I do want to ask at least 1 question. We don't want to not do that. So it was a pool game, 3 minute. Okay, so it's a 3-minute game. So I'm guessing we will definitely go through this fast. So, okay, we got London system from white. So you played early c6. Okay, again, I'm not usually spending too much time on openings. I'm going further away. I'm not so sure about pawn takes d3. That looks quite interesting. Queen d3, of course, is a lot more normal with the idea of e4 and c4. I'm not so sure if this kind of structure is going to help me in the future. You might feel like it's helping e4, but e4 is really something that black will ignore, right? So let's keep going more to probably get a better understanding of this. So takes, castle, I'm guessing knight d7, h3 and castle. So, okay, so far we've come through the game pretty straightforward and nothing special. I think black is pretty comfortably equalized here, so this should not be any problem for black. I would probably go for the break right now. Even though they do have a double pawn, you don't want to undouble them. I would prefer the space at this point. So black has 2 options, which I think are equally interesting: e5 or c5. I think you should consider both, and particularly since that white just played rook e1, you do have to pay attention to e4, right? Sai, you're right. Can black play e5? Yes, black should have played e5, but I still prefer castling first. So castling first was completely fine, but at this point, I would rush to do this because once white plays e4, you have to play more of a reacting game. In fact, white should have probably played e4 here, because you see this threat is a problem. And also, like I mentioned earlier, if I'm playing black, I don't want to do that. Like that's like the positional mistake that I definitely don't want to do, right? Because if I do that, you have this awesome pawns in the center and your pawns are undoubled. We definitely don't want that. So rook e1 makes, I mean, e4 probably makes more sense. Rook e1 is a little slow and you should have pushed the pawn, but okay, you gave him a chance. Now he plays e4 and you played d takes e4. So I guess the first lesson from this game, the pawn structure is pretty bad for your opponent, then let it be. Now you might be worried about e5, so just move the knight, right? So for example, here it's a little awkward. So let's try moving it to h7. Even this to me is totally worth it because look at both the pawn structures. This pawn structure, I think either with ed5 or cd5, the 2 pawns are really in bad shape. Also e5, right? Again, you might think too much space for white. Yes, but the pawns are still pretty bad. That's your real comeback, right? So why let them really open up the position and, you know, fix their pawn structure? All right, let's go on. So e5 kind of weakened the d5 square, I guess. Okay, let's move in. Knight takes d5. Usually the reason why they weaken this one is maybe to get this one. So I guess knight e4, knight d6 would have been my preferable idea for white, because now again I would say it's back to pretty equal position with white having slightly better space. I think the theme of this game has to be weak squares. b4 is the most casual move that white can play here, because c4 becomes an outpost and this knight now gets a fantastic square to get. And I like how you jumped on that, Dinesh. Knight b6, rook c1, queen d7. Why not knight to c4? I think you went in for the outpost. This might be the best time to jump in and actually take that outpost. So, okay, queen d7 is not so bad either. Rook c8, a3, queen a4. Not bad, not bad. So positionally, I feel like black is doing way better than white. And I also like how you kind of controlled his squares. So his knight doesn't get to jump and your knight gets to jump. So that's kind of a good place to start with. So maybe teeny tiny bit better for black in this endgame. White should be able to hold maybe, but I'm liking black's position. I would have thought that at some point you should have tried this move. The thing is, you have an open file. There's only one open file on the board. You certainly have to think about taking control of that, right? Now, when you play rook c4, you're basically asking, you're giving your opponent two options. One, of course, is, yeah, please trade and give me a strong pass pawn. It's also going to be a protected pass pawn, and it's also going to expose this pawn on d4 to become a problem soon too. So either this move that they have to accept, or they should accept you doubling up and taking over the complete file. So when you had the initiative here, you had to seize it more, and you have to make use of the knight also not having any good squares. So I guess that's what would have made a difference. I like how you bring your king up, but the problem is I think it didn't really take the chance. You had a chance of controlling the C file. You have to do that. Harish, I would love to. Sai and Harish, I know you guys have this, but I'm going to ask a question after this. Dinesh had answered something last week, and I didn't get a chance to go over his game. So he was online, so I thought I would start with his game. And he's been asking, I would love to do Sai, your game, and Harish's game as well. Don't worry, we're going nowhere. But again, I want you guys to all look at these games as something that we're all analyzing together. It should be irrelevant. Any game we analyze, we're learning together. All right, so moving on with this endgame, I still see, for a 3-minute game, Dinesh, I have to say this is pretty solid. Both players have not blundered anything. So rook e8, knight f1, e5. So the e5 break has happened. But it did mean that you have given one square to him. I'm not super worried, but let's see. Takes, and okay. So at this point, I have to say white has taken over. So sometimes you can clearly see the difference. And that is the critical point, I would say, was pawn captures d4. Or even this e5 move. Right here is the starting point. You have an awesome file and you're not pursuing that. Instead, you're pursuing this, where his king has super strength. So watch this. At this point, I think this king is just dominating. So you have to play something like rook d8. So Dinesh is saying, you're saying the accuracy was 95, 97. That's the 95. That's amazing. Actually, if you play without blunders, I see that some of these games are, the accuracy goes up, which is nice. Mostly avoiding blunders and avoiding major mistakes. And also, you've played 61 moves. That has to help. So you see your rook is in a great position for a pass pawn, but it's also a passive position against this active king. So I was in a great position a while ago in his open file. Now I'm defending that. And also white rook is getting in. Yeah, so this looks close to lost for you right now. So let's see how you came back to draw this. Knight in games are extremely difficult to put together. If you're down a pawn, you're probably lost in a king and pawn in game. Next to that, you're probably lost in a knight and pawn in game. And then other in games have more chances to defend, but knight in games, pawn down, is usually very, very difficult. Rook in games are probably the best to try to make a draw, but yeah, knight in games are tough. With this king like this looks completely lost. Let's see how you came back. So you picked up one pawn, but this is still really dangerous for white, because I think having an A pass pawn is super strong. Now, I feel like white could have done something here. Let's see if you guys can think of a move for white. Sometimes the problem is rushing. The problem is how players rush. So white had a good move, probably to think about something and do a better move. White's probably winning anyways, but I just prefer one specific move. Let's see if anyone can come up with this move. b5 maybe, yes. I love b5, I love a4. I love both these moves. These are really strong moves. If you play b5, this pawn and that pawn both are in trouble, because the knight can only go here, but then I can play a4. See, this pawn is yours to take. What's a rush? You take, and then you queen the pawn, and that's just game over. So white, a4 or b5, both of them would have been really nice. But king takes a7 was played. and I guess you get to play b5 and king b6 and knight d4. I don't think this changes much. White should still be winning, but b5 would have been crushing. Now you still have a chance to fight, which is exactly what you did. Okay, I'm not so sure why king c5 was not played. Probably king c5, knight a2, capture, and then some king c6, and should be completely winning for white. So your opponent played king a5 with the idea of a4, I guess. A little too slow. So pawn takes, king takes, and so at least gave you some time to bring the king in. So one of the simplest things you could have done is you could have gone after your pawn here, because your knight and king are both defending on this side. So maybe knight g7, knight f5 was simple enough. But let's see. I'm still kind of curious to see how you pulled this back and defended. Knight d7. Oh no. Big no. I want all of you to remember this. You are down material. Do not go to a king and pawn game. You're down a pawn. Do not go to a king and pawn game. I've seen this too many times. Hey Arav, good to see you. So what happens when you trade is you just make your life a lot more difficult. And white ignored the trade. The simplest possible way white could win is just take. Knight takes, king takes, and just go king a6, king a7. I'm even queening the pawn. The fact is, even if I don't queen the pawn, you guys have all seen this simple method. Just leave the pawn on b6 and go all the way to that side, and white's just going to pick up those two pawns and win the game. So knight d7 is a big blunder. You have to watch out for that. But okay, your opponent is a little greedy. How did you draw this game? You gave h5 and pawn takes h5. It's extremely interesting. Okay, so first, I think your opponent probably didn't realize that the knight is a little trapped and needed some attention. So maybe just knight h6 followed by knight g4, and white is up 2 pawns, completely winning. So should be Yajur. Hey, good question. Why did white not take the knight? I think it's just a mistake, Yajur. White should have captured the knight and won the king and pawn game. So even now he's winning. He's up 2 pawns, but looks like Dinesh is able to get 1 back. So okay, b6 blunder. So the losing move, or the game-changing move, is this move b6. I think white still probably wins with h7, because after king g7, you will pick up this pawn, but you will not be able to, the knight will escape out, and then I think white should just win by queening this pawn or something like that. Unless black has a way to make a draw by taking this one. Actually, this endgame got super interesting. I'm just going to play with it a little bit, because I think it just became interesting. King captures pawn. I'm 1 move away from doing this. This would have been a cool distraction for this knight if I can queen. But the problem is, if I play the check, the knight will capture and come right back. Oops, sorry, not there. Come right back to d7. So yeah, you have endgame blunders, but that's okay. You're playing blitz and you're down to like few seconds and playing some moves. I don't expect super clear endgames. But sometimes you catch these endgames. I really want you guys to analyze that, right? So b7, oh well, sorry, b7 loses the piece. I want to move the knight. So what I was thinking here is, black's main drawing idea is to, of course, at some point give this knight for this pawn, either on b6 or b8, depending on what works best, and move the king over to take that pawn, right? So I'm going to try to do this directly and see if this works. So I take, king takes, and I go here. What do you guys think? Can I make a draw? Can I go and trade off the pawn, or do you think white should be able to win this one? What do you guys think? Let's give a few seconds to see what would be the best way you think that, of course, white knight wants to save the pawn and stop from playing g4. Okay, I'm hearing a bunch of draws. I will agree with you, because there are 2 problems. One is, not only do I have to save the pawn, but I also have to guard the square, because this move in itself is a draw. So this would be a draw. But if you don't play knight takes b6, you would be in trouble. White's knight is too far away. That's true. Let's say king went up directly. I think this could be trouble, because I play this, and now I might not even let you take that pawn for the knight. I would just try to distract you. Like, I'll show you an example. King h5. let's say I play knight c5, king over here, and I play knight e5. So I'm first causing a distraction. You cannot take, because ooh, I just blundered. Sorry. That would have been a big blunder. Queen and knight c6 check. So my distraction ended up on the worst possible square, where actually it was not a distraction. So let me go back. I'm going to try to distract you on a different square. How about distracting you on maybe f6? Not f6. Yeah, maybe knight g8, king h4, and knight f6. It does cause a distraction, but I'm worried this is not enough. Because knight b8, the thing is, I want to play king b6 and king c7, but there are 3 squares that I need to guard. So one is a6, one is this, and one is here. And that's why knight would have been great on e5. Would have been super good on e5, but we just couldn't do that. So this is still possibly a draw, because king here takes, and if I go here, you have knight a6. It's a question of timing. Yeah, I mean, this was, like, for example, my winning plan should be this. And I want to distract this knight with my knight, but I'm nowhere in a position to do that. So I think this position is still worth calculating. I'm not so sure. I have a feeling that white should win this one somewhere. At least by just attacking this pawn. If not, by, like, for example, I'll tell you this variation. Knight g8, king h4, here. I can at least do this move. Because you take that pawn, I take this one. Then the question of black king running back. So I'm not so sure this endgame. We probably have to calculate a little bit more. Let's see if there's anything I can do to change this. So king h6, b7, king h5. What else can I play? Mahati, yes, g4 at that point. Pawn takes, king takes, and then the king runs back. And I think white is still in a good position to win. But I feel like I need to close it out right here. Somewhere I'm missing a chance to close it out. What am I doing? Okay, so knight c6 makes sense. So king here. Maybe I should just play king b5, one move. So you go here, I play knight e5. You go here, I play king here. Again, now there is no tricks of taking the knight, so you have to kind of go back. I go king here. You push the pawn. And I'm here. I think I'm barely making it. This is pretty cool. Watch this. You cannot move to any of these 2 squares. I'll take it. Your knight is basically trapped. So your only chance is this pawn. I take it. And you push. And boom. I just made it barely. Now, why is this winning? Because when the king goes here, I won't give up my knight here. I'll give it up here. King over here. I move my king. King captures knight. And I make my queen. And guess what? This pawn is a knight pawn. So a knight pawn in the 7th rank. I hope you guys know your basic queen versus pawn in game. I'm going to wait. How many of you think you can actually win this as white? This should be winning for white. Who can tell me how? Ridhima says it's a loss for black. I agree, Ridhima. Black cannot hold this. But do you know how you should do this? Or I'll also ask another question. Which pawn will actually be a draw? Which pawn on the 7th rank will actually be a draw? Harish is giving me the right answer. You keep checking the king until the king blocks the pawn and then you move forward, yeah? But which pawn would be a draw? Mahati, good job. Rook and bishop pawn would be a draw. That's right. So if the pawn is on h2 or if the pawn is on f2. Anyway, so cool. Going back, this, well, actually, let me show this really quickly for fun. Let's say the king moves somewhere. I kind of pin. I move in zigzag. Knight pawns are even better. Check. So the whole idea is every move, black is threatening to promote, so white doesn't have the time to move the king in. So, but the whole idea is when you play this, when you keep approaching, you get this final part of closing in with g3. So that's a key thing. I would say the 3 squares behind the pawn are super important. When king f1 happens, you play this check, and I cannot go anywhere else because king e1 loses a pawn. I'm forced to block my own pawn, and that's when you steal a move. So it's a long process, but yeah, every time you give like a bunch of checks, you steal a move with your king. You give a bunch of checks, you steal a move with your king. So, but this was actually quite an instructive endgame. This turned out to be really, really interesting in variations, Dinesh. Because look at this particular part, yeah? So I think this could be a nice homework in itself. I'm pretty sure I'll use it at some point. Because knight captures b6 is absolutely necessary for a draw. And if black doesn't, white gets to play b7. And we saw this beautiful theoretical endgame that white gets all the way to the end to win. Cool. Now let's see how it ended. b6, knight captures b6, king captures g8. Okay. It almost looked like black could try to win this one. You came close enough. Okay, so you still wanted to hang around here, I guess. g4 would have been a draw. But okay, just moving back and forth. See, this is quite dangerous, Dinesh. It didn't really affect you here, but I'm going to tell you this. This is not what we want. Your king is forward, making progress. We should not be coming back. Watch what happens. You not only come back, you give the opposition. You let your opponent's king march forward like this. I recently saw a couple of king and pawn games like that. And it was a little bit dangerous. I would say it's a little dangerous to have an advanced king move back. So don't do that, okay? Alright, that was actually a pretty good game. And we were able to cover that in about half an hour. That's not so bad. So which means we can do one more solid game. So I guess let's come up with a question for today. Alright, let's see. The question for the day, which if you get to answer, the first person to type in the answer will be able to get a game analyzed with me. So here's a question. You might need to do a little bit of looking up for this. So in the famous World Championship match between Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky, in the very first game, Fischer blundered something by doing something. If you can tell me what was the move and what piece did he blunder? Give it to Harish because he, even though did not get the exact right answer, he has kind of got it. Okay. Oh, the video is glitching. Hopefully it's not glitching right now. I'm going to give it to Harish. I'm going to give it to Harish. Hopefully the lag is gone right now. Harish, you can email it to me. All good now. Fantastic. Okay. The move was actually bishop captures h2, not bishop captures a2. It was bishop captures h2 and g3. So, you know, I didn't see anything else. So I'm going to give it to you as you're close enough. So just email me your game. Okay. Email. Very good. I'm going to open it up. We'll get this going. In the meantime, Harish, you can tell us what, who you played this game with. What were the circumstances? If you want to add some information to us. Okay, let's delete this whole thing. Clear board. No. Okay, I got it. Okay, so let's get this going. Harish, I got your game. Can you tell me about okay, are we guys still seeing a glitch in the system? Can you guys hear me properly? Is this good? Because I see some of you are still saying there's a glitch. Okay, perfect. All right, I'm starting to get the answers back and everything is good. Hopefully we will not have any more issues. So let's just continue. Harish was playing black against, in livechess.com, 1735 to 1711. So Harish, where was this a tournament game, league game, a friendly game? What kind of game was this? While you're typing your answer in or letting us know, I'm going to get started with the game. Death Eater is Harish and he is playing black. So King's Indian, just for fun. Okay, what was the time control, Harish? That's kind of important for the game analysis because I need to be able to suggest things based on that. Dinesh had a great 3-minute game. So what was your time control? Most of the moves seems to be in seconds, so I'm guessing it's a faster time control game. By the way, we have a King's Indian, everyone. The King's Indian defense. Just to give a small introduction on all the Indian defenses. After d4, knight f6 move. There are two moves, of course, knight f6 and d5, both are possible. But knight f6 moves are the ones that lead to all the Indian defenses. You have e6, which leads to a bunch of like Queen's Indian, Nimzo Indian, Bogo Indian defense. And you have g6, which leads to the King's Indian defenses. So all these Indian defenses come out of this. So let's go. Castle, bishop g5. So Harish, it's a blitz game, so you probably have a few blunders. Okay, we'll excuse you for that, Harish. d5 and knight here. Okay, so I'm not 100% sure with bishop to g5. I'm just going to quickly go back and use the reference to check what the main move there is. I've mentioned about reference. I know bishop e3 and bishop e2, of course, are super normal lines. There's h3 and those kind of moves. But I've not seen bishop g5, so I'm going to quickly check reference to make sure I get this. Yeah, okay, looks like it's played, but not very popular. Yeah, I mean, clearly bishop e2 is the most common move. Bishop g5 looks a little odd. So that's why I was thinking, what was this? If you guys don't have chess base, it's okay. But if you have chess base, it's a great tool to check a reference database. So Auerbach variation is what Harish says. Okay, I'm not good with the name, so I'm not so sure. But okay, so it is still played. It's not such a bad move. Knight to d7, b4. The only thing is, I guess, maybe they put the bishop to h4 and g3 is one of the possibilities. Because h6, if the bishop goes back, it's a waste of move. It doesn't make any sense. The bishop has to go to h4 and g3. Mahir is saying he's learning the English. English is a good opening, Mahir. Good thing to learn. So it's kind of... I had mentioned this last time, so I'm also going to talk about this really quickly. Because I think middle game planning and pawn structure is extremely important in your games. So when you have to come up with a plan, you always have to look at pawns first. So pawn structure tells you a lot. I mentioned this in one of the streams before. Let me just talk about it really quickly. The pawn chain is pointing towards the queen side for white, and it's also saying its head of the pawn chain, which is on d5, is on the queen side, right? So white tends to play on the queen side because it has more space on the queen side. They say it points towards queen side or play towards the pawn chain is because that's where you have more space. The same way black has head towards e5, so more space towards king side, right? But then when it comes to breaking these pawn chains, it's usually the base. So white wants to play this and black wants to play this. Now this is extremely important because I've seen a lot of games where they try to go for the wrong break, right? These breaks are not as effective. They weaken your position. They don't work very well. So if you want to do the best break, do not go after the head. Go after the base. So b4 makes a lot of sense. White is planning his break on that base of d6. a5, pawn takes, and then we have a rook trade. Okay? h6 and bishop takes e7. Now this move is a positional blunder. I would say this is, you cannot give up your bishop, this particular bishop. Now you might say this is a completely closed position. So why is it such a big deal to give up that bishop? Who can tell me? Who can tell me a reason of why is it bad for white to give up that bishop? This is what we would typically call as a closed position. Pawns are fixed. In closed positions, knights are supposed to be better than bishops. So why am I saying that bishop takes e7 is probably a positional blunder? His pieces. I don't know if that is a complete answer. We need something better than that. You need to control the dark squares. I think that's pretty good, Dinesh. Dark squares are weak. Look at the pawns And look at your bishop. They do the same job of guarding light squares. And I mentioned this several times. Bishops and pawns, they work in tandem. They work really well when you organize them together. When you put the pawns in a certain color, you have to have the bishops guarding the other one. Now this is the only bishop that's left that can guard the dark squares safely. So white on his own trading that bishop for a knight simply means that at some point in the future, dark squares all over the board are going to look really, really bad for white. And if I'm playing black here, that's what I would be looking for. I'd be looking for creating those weaknesses and working on those dark squares. Let's see if Harish was able to do that. Knight to b5. Is this really a real problem, or should we just play c6? You played c6. Yeah, I don't see why not. c6 makes a lot of sense. Takes. Knight just had to go back. Why not continuing with our plan to play f5? Did you consider playing f5, Harish? It might still be worth it. Even though white probably has a good chance of creating a pass pawn here. So c6 did change the dynamics a little bit. Sorry, but I still prefer black with the two bishops. So the f5 plan would mean that you open up the position more, play on the king side, but white will play on the queen side with the pass pawn. And that's how the game would be going in that direction. But okay, you decided probably not to play f5. So maybe just bishop e6, yeah? But c5 is coming. Did he play c5? Yep. I don't like... I'm slowly getting worried that your position might be slipping positionally, right? I mean, it's... Because white's very active on the queen side and you're continuing to play there. Without... Yeah, so knight d5 or knight a8 were possible, but knight a8 would be bad because now white will probably not trade queens because that knight is in a terrible spot. So I like what you did, Harish. You played knight to d5, yeah? So that's much better. So you're doing this boomerang kind of trick that they say. Queen takes c7, the knight comes back. If you take the knight, then the queen's hanging. So queen takes, knight takes. Okay, now what do we see? Now the difference is I see this pawn is actually fixed in a dark square, giving this bishop enough of a diagonal to be free. So it doesn't feel like a bad bishop as much, right? So this is of course going to restrict that bishop. This would make it bad, but this is kind of making it good because that bishop just got a target too. There is one white piece I don't like so much. And if white can improve on that piece, I think white will have an advantage. Does anyone have an idea what piece should white improve on right now? By the way, white's move has to be pretty forcing. I think this is what he played in the game. Rook d6 is probably the best move. I would definitely play that too. But my question is, if there is one white piece that needs improvement, that will make white's position much, much better, which piece would that be? You have 4 pieces on the board, a rook and 3 minor pieces. Let's go. Let's see who can tell me which piece you would like to improve. Okay. Still haven't heard anything from anyone. We have 4 minor pieces, the 2 knights, and we got a bishop and a rook, right? So the only piece that I would say that's in bad shape is this knight. The knight on f3, even though it looks okay, it doesn't go anywhere. This pawn is just really restricting it. So that knight needs to be rerouted. Maybe knight d2, knight c4, knight d6, knight b6, something like that, right? So reshuffling your pieces to good squares is kind of important. So that's what I would say is the most important thing. But white played rook d6. I like rook d6 because we're going after a pawn and I don't see how it can be defended. So black is losing that pawn and I see Harish went for a counter attack. Okay, so this is where maybe just playing a move like h3 might not have been a bad idea. So sometimes you have to do prophylaxis, right? Prophylaxis or prevention, what does it mean? It means that what's more important? Are you supposed to defend or are you supposed to attack? Now, why do I feel it's important to defend? Because this check is giving me trouble. If the bishop blocks, there are more ways to attack the bishop again with bishop c4. So I feel like this rook a1 check is trouble. So I might have played this one. Let's say black plays something like this. Now I would have just taken the pawn. I would say this trouble does not seem like a bigger trouble because rook takes c3 and rook takes c7, and it looks completely fine for white because any check, the king just escapes. And there is no real danger for white. The fact that white has a fantastic pass pawn, and that's about it, right? No real danger. Okay, so going back, that's one thing you need to remember, right? You have to see which ones, like the good and bad stuff. You have to value, okay, this is a good thing I'm going to do. I don't need to defend my opponent's threat. Or say, wait, my opponent's threat is really strong. I'm going to take care of that. So yeah, rook c6 I think is allowing chances. Maybe here is where Harish got back into the game. Bishop c4, I like it. Knight d2, bishop takes, knight takes, and knight e6. So, I mean, white should still win this one. I mean, I guess g3 and king g2 should defend this. Unless there's some knight d4. Yeah, I don't see anything enough. So he played g3. Rook c1 was played. Ah, so you managed to win that pawn. That's kind of interesting. Maybe knight to d5 was required first. Now that I'm thinking about it, this could have been a better option to start with. I'm trying to see how is it that, you know, how is it that white can retain this pawn? Because if you try to attack the pawn, I got check followed by pawn push, so that's pretty safe for me. Unless I get this one. Okay. Okay. I have to say that you have enough counterplay. That king, the move that was not played in terms of king h3 followed by king h2, I think is basically the critical point for white. This seems like draw no matter what. See, because you're creating a double threat. Knight e2 check is simply winning, so I have to play g3. And so knight e2 check, I can play king g2, but the problem is I think just lost this pawn on c6. So this should be a draw. So again, going back to the most critical point, a simple prophylactic move like h3 would have done the job here, but white went too fast in capturing the pawn. And okay, so still there is no way that you're winning this game. So Harish, I don't know what magic you pulled out of the bag here, but this looks extremely drawish. Again, even here, if you ask me to pick one side, I'm probably going to pick white. The knight on d5 is much stronger. Again, a bad bishop, right? But nothing worth a point on it. This should be a draw. This should be a draw. Very, very minor advantage. All right, going forward, let's see. Where did Harish make this happen? Maybe he flagged his opponent. I don't know. Because at this point, it looks like black winning. Yajur wants to know, why did we not double up on the open file with rook and queen? Oh, Yajur, that's a while ago. So I'm not sure at what time you were talking about that. The rook and queen. Yeah, so I'm not so sure. I'll come back on that after some point. Let's take a look at this endgame. I'm extremely curious to see how Harish won this one. So white is not repeating and black is repeating. Okay, so now we are completely left with bishop versus knight. It's funny, I think the two games, both the games that we're seeing today seems to be the same. Because Dinesh's game was slightly worse. I mean, actually lost and he came back, and here this is a completely drawn in game. Okay, knight d5. My guess could be that it was a king and pawn in game. White did something silly and lost in a king and pawn in game, maybe. Okay, so f5 was played, takes. Okay, this is not possible. How can you win this one? By the way, this is extremely dangerous from black. I mean, you cannot always let this king and pawn in game. By the way, I talked about this already in the games earlier. If you have a minor piece endgame or a rook endgame and you can go into a king and pawn endgame, you better pay attention to it. King and pawn endgame is like tactic. It's a win or a loss. It's basically over. So when I play a move like king h5, I would be super careful. I'd be like, okay, what happens if knight captures f4? Can I actually catch the pawn? Can I not? I mean, why give this option all the time? I'm sure something like that happened. Wow, okay. This is unfortunate. This is unfortunate and sad. So what happens? Watch this. Knight captures, pawn captures, and king here. This is what we usually call as a simple draw, because both players try to avoid a mutual zugzwang. What is a mutual zugzwang? It's basically a zugzwang no matter whose turn it is. Like this position is a mutual zugzwang. If it's white's turn to play, white loses a pawn. If it's black's turn to play, black loses a pawn. Again, pay attention to what I'm saying. I said black loses a pawn, not the game. White loses a pawn, not the game, right? But usually, the simplest draw happens because both players dance around. Because they have nothing better to do. There's no way to approach this pawn. So they just keep dancing around these pawns, waiting for the other person to go in. You repeat the moves, you call the game a draw, and that's how it's done. But even after king f3, which I can say is a big question mark, king e5 is still not lost. Because losing the pawn does not mean you're losing the game. King e2. Just keep going back and forth, and this should automatically be a draw, because, I mean, you guys should know this. The only way a king and pawn in game would win is if the king is in front of the pass pawn. So that's a pass pawn. This king is in the side of it, right? If it's either the side or behind the pass pawn, the chances of winning is just extremely low. So here, of course, check, king f1, king f3, we got a stalemate. I see Ryan is here. Hey, Ryan. So going back, I guess I'm going to excuse both players again because they have been playing a blitz game and this is already move 60. So I'm sure they made some mistake. King g4, king takes e4, king h3, king e3, king g2, king e2. Okay, so it doesn't really matter at this point. It's just... Okay, I'm going to stop this here because after you made the queen, you win. So one of the lessons I want us to remember from this is that you do not want to go into king and pawn in game easily. You want to be extra cautious about going into a king and pawn in game. That's always very tricky. You have to calculate to make sure it's winning or it's in your favor, right? All right, good. So we got 2 games and we probably have about 10 minutes. I don't think we have enough time to completely start a new one. I do probably owe 1 game to Sai, but I cannot see any game that's really big. If Sai, if you have a really small game, we can do that. Unfortunately, I'm not asking a simul. That's not a bad idea. We can do a game. Do you guys want? How about this? Let's decide by the comments. We can do. I can do a simul. Play a bunch of games with you guys, or we can try to get one more game. The only reason I'm allowing this is because there's only 10 minutes left. So usually I would want to spend the whole time analyzing, but with 10 minutes left, I think I might have to give in to your requests. Okay, I guess. Okay, so yes, that we'll do the same thing. I'll pick up your game first next week, and then give the question to the next person. Okay, let's go. Wait, Ryan, there's no way you have a streak. You lost to me a couple of times, and then you beat me once in the blitz. I remember all the Scotch games in which I won. So I think you have to check your math on the wins. All right. That said, let's go into our chess.com. Where are we? Okay, there we are. I have to do a little bit of adjusting here and go to live chess. Okay, we are in live chess. Move this out a little bit more. Okay, while we are doing live chess, I will not be able to see your comments as much. So I can try to play maybe 3 games at a time. Let's try to see if we can get 3 games at a time. All right, I got the first 3 that I'm going to accept, and accept. Okay. All right. Let's go with our simul. Wow, these two games have the exact same move, so it looks like I'm actually not playing a move after I finish their thing. Right. Might repeat the exact same thing. So Super Soccer Ryan, you got in for your revenge. Wait, my revenge, sorry. The only problem with these simuls is my setting to automatically keep going back to the other board. So bishop here, let's play bishop e7, h3, I think castle is fine, c3, knight d5, rook e1. Oh, I have to remember that with Ryan I'm playing 3 minutes. Oops. Who else am I playing 3 minutes with? Okay, let's just take this guy. I get to play this move. Okay, take. Let's go here. The key in taking some of these games, I have to make sure that I finish them on time. So I get to actually play other games faster. Okay, what do we do? I think we should swing this guy in. Okay, let's get this guy traded. I don't mind. The times are about even, so I'm not too worried. Ooh, that's actually quite annoying. Okay, I'm going to take this. Okay, let's jump this in. So he doesn't pull any random tricks. Let's save that. So this is what I was a little worried about. I think I wanted to attack, but now he's bothering me a little bit. Okay, takes, giving me the double pawn. Go back. All right, how do we proceed this? Let's just do this for now. No knight b4 tricks. Okay, let's stop that. The games are quite interesting at this point. I'm just going to push a little bit on this side and see what he does. Okay, I was pretty sure he was going to do that. I'm pretty comfortable with this position because I feel like I have a lot of initiative here. Let's hit that pawn. Okay, he wants to give me that pawn. I'll take that pawn. The only thing for me is that I want to make sure the other games are done and dusted. Okay, let's play this. Okay, so he is playing this move. Looks super dangerous. Okay, but he wants to do it. Let's just take it. Okay, use this free move. It's going back, f3. Okay, so this should be, I think, winning for me. All right, I just have to wrap up the tactic properly. Oh no, oops. Oops. This is what happens when we play. Ah, you missed my free knight. I just blundered a knight and you didn't take it, my friend. You did not take my free knight. Okay, so he is trying to trick something and this should be winning for me already. Okay. Okay, what do we have? 129. The only question is time. If my time is okay, I should be. Wait, what's he doing here? I should just take that free piece. Check. Okay, too many free pieces, my friend. I just don't want. Oh, what should I take? You're giving me so many free stuff. I don't even know what to take. It becomes so silly. Oh, let me just take something. I'm just wasting time. What should I take now? Just going to. Okay, go back. Some of the games have to end. Only then I should be able to focus on Ryan's game and finish it off. Okay, but he's not finishing this game. Come on, man. Check. Shoot. I should not have done that move. I should be careful now. Alright, someone is unfortunately bothering me more than they should be. Might have gotten a checkmate here, hopefully. Really? Stop this thing. Okay, he's flagging me again. Okay, I can't do this. I lost on time. Wait, I won on time. Oh, not bad. Sai, you almost got me in trouble. I was like super going back and forth because you were lost a long time ago and now you are up a queen. How did that even happen? Oh my god. Okay, that's what happened. How do I pull this out of the bag here? Okay, this is not going to look easy for me. I'm in trouble, but hopefully I can flag you somehow. Okay, that's a problem. Okay, let's get this guy in. So I'm down. What am I down? I'm down a queen for a piece. This cannot be good. This cannot be good. A draw offer is good, but I have some chances. If I didn't have any chances, I would not be doing this, but I think I do have some chances. I think this one. And I do get to win your queen and maybe just play down in exchange, which is still bad, but not as bad as being down a full queen. So I see you don't want to give that. Okay, let's come back. Let's go back. Okay. Wait, there are no checks. Oh, there is a check. So let me do this. Why can't I finish this off? It's kind of annoying. Okay, so I got the craziest game. I managed to come back. Ryan was getting me almost, but looks like I got him in time. But the problem with this 3-minute going back and forth with my setting, I just don't think I can do that. So let's see. I don't know if I can do one more, guys. Let's it's already 9:15. I know I played some of you. How about next time I'll play the other, like the rest of the guys. Some of you are still challenging me. Okay. All right, fine. One more. 3-minute. Accept. I can accept 2 more challenges. Go. Only if you have not played against me. Do not give me a challenge if you have played against me. I will not accept. Wait, why is castle boarding? You don't want to play? If someone wants to challenge me, you could do this right now. Santosh, I believe you're castle, right? Oh, Ryan's updating the results, saying that okay, we got glowing actor. I forgot. I keep forgetting. All right, I got Harish. Okay, 3 games with 3 minutes. This is going to be a real challenge for me. Got to go back into super fast mode. Last time Sai's game was 5 minutes. That was a little helpful. Okay, let's get that going. Let's get that going. Gotta be super fast. Okay, want that. Is he gonna sacrifice? I should have thought about it. I see more requests, guys. Unfortunately, I think at this point I'm kind of maxed out. Okay, no sacrifice is good for me. The last thing we want is craziness in the middle of these blitz games. I want simple stuff. Okay, what is he doing? He wants to attack me? Maybe. Right, I could do this. Or I could just move up. Throw in the check. Take the pawn. Okay, so the games look pretty convincing and good. The only question is time. I'm up on time in all the games so far, so it should not be a problem. Okay, I don't want to lose my extra pawn, so I'm going to do that. Okay, let's just try to attack. Okay, so do we trade? Do we not trade? Do we trade? Okay, let's. How about do that? Okay, or that. Might have played a bad move. Shoot, might have played that bad. I'm not a big fan of that move. Didn't want to really do that, but I did it. Okay, so I see where he's coming. I don't want to touch that, my friend. So that's the reason I didn't like that move. But I think Harish, you should have taken. Wait, not glowing Gactor. Who was glowing Gactor? I keep forgetting. What's your name? Wait, is it my move? It's not my move. In any of the games, it's not my move. That's actually good feeling. A very good feeling. What's going on? Why are you giving me free pieces here? Okay, let's just keep it simple. No. Okay, I have to do this. And okay. I think I'm up a lot of material here. This should be over soon. Santosh, you gave me too much stuff. It's gonna go b5. That's a little annoying. Okay, so can we finish this? Don't need to take anything right now. It looks a little dangerous. A little too dangerous. I think it's worth it. Alright, one down. Santosh. This is the move I was actually worried about. I think I should be okay if I do this because 95 knight takes e5. It's still a bunch of trades. Okay, let's see this. Let's see this. It's just gotten interesting, so I think it's worth seeing it. Okay, let's go pawn storming him. I have like about 1 minute and 13 seconds in both my games, so this is going to be quite interesting. Okay, so let's go up. Okay, that unfortunately is not a good move, my friend. Okay, so he is going for this trade. Everything is capturable. Okay, let's just capture the simplest thing for now. Let's go in for that exchange. Okay, I think that gave me a free pawn. Oh, I had a really good move which I probably missed. My rook being protected at oh, I think he's really low on time, so that's going to be oops, check. Check. Let's just go here. Okay, I think too many pieces hanging there. I guess at this point they're all down to 15 seconds and 4 seconds, so that's going to be tough to play. Okay, so not bad. Finishing the day with all wins. I see. All right, guys. It was fun playing the end in the blitz matches. I think these blitz matches make it pretty even because in 3 minute games, I do struggle to get back and forth between these games, and I'm not that fast compared to like other super GMs. But 3 minutes in three simul, not bad to keep my best record. Yes, Ryan did beat me once. He did flag me in one of the games. All right. Thank you everyone for watching. I will see you guys next Thursday. We always have our challenge your chess coach tomorrow, Friday at 6 p.m. I hope to see you guys there. Right? Take care, everyone. Bye.